Hello, and thank you for joining me as I explore the overlap between studies in perception and meter in the field of music theory. Let's begin with a brief experiment. As you listened to the opening moments of Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, were you sitting perfectly still, or did you find yourself tapping a finger, bobbing your head, maybe even wiggling your shoulders just a little bit? Were these responses voluntary or involuntary? Did you feel the music was making you move in some way? If so, what musical elements contributed to evoking these physical responses? These are the types of questions that we will consider in our time together today. During our overview of embodied meter, we will consider both performers and listeners, look at data collected through motion capture, video, and spectral analyses, and consider the metric influence of music on the body, the role the body plays in generating and expressing meter, and the benefit of using music and motion in the classroom. Richard Baudouin presented a paper at the 2016 Society of Music Theory Conference on the physical impact of metric regularity on a performer. A spectrographic analysis of Glenn Gould's recording of Schoenberg Opus 19 No. 1 revealed the creaking of Gould's well-worn piano chair. During ametric portions of the piece, there was significantly more creaking due to Gould's physical restlessness in his chair. As the metric clarity of the piece improved, the music settled into a meter and Gould settled into his chair. Listener studies in music can also show a correlation between metric clarity and physical motion. Brigitte Berger led a study of the interaction between physical motion, meter, and timbre. Participants were fitted with 28 motion sensors and asked to move naturally with music from various popular genres. The music included moments of both high and low metric regularity, as seen on the left and right of this slide, respectively. The result of the study is reflected in the percentage of participants who shared physical responses to specific musical features. The main takeaway being the direct impact of pulse clarity on the amount, speed, and type of physical movement, influencing whole body engagement. Based on her recent video study of dancers interacting with familiar and less familiar popular music, Robin Attis would add to Berger's argument that the motion of several body parts to different pulse levels reflects an embodiment of the hierarchical structure of meter. Knowing what we now know about metric clarity, let's return to the Whitney Houston example. On this listen, did you begin moving immediately? Or maybe you started moving about 5 seconds in, when the drums become more periodic. It could have also been after about 12 seconds after the woo, when a new layer of metric pulse enters the music. Justin London's primary research involves meter from a listener perspective. In the first few moments of listening, London finds that the listener must abstract information from the music in order to generate a metric projection. The beginning of the Whitney Houston example is slightly underdetermined, meaning that we begin with a rhythm but not a clear metric state until about 5 seconds in. throughout the piece, the addition of more and more pulse layers improves the metric clarity of the piece. What parts of your body did you move? I think by 12 seconds in, the piece encourages full body interaction. And what about the performer? Certainly, performer and listener metric interactions are not mutually exclusive. Andrew Mead argues for a connection between listener and performer physical responses to music. The listener may entrain not only to the music, but also to the performer by mimicking physical gestures, including the performer's breathing. This type of listener response to the performer is called kinesthetic empathy, and I believe that it exists not only in classical music, but also popular music of the 1980s. Let's have a listen to another brief example. As you listened to this example, did you respond in a similar manner to your response to the Whitney Houston? I found my response was a bit different. I had more kinesthetic empathy. Knowing what I know of the performer, I was inclined not only to move, but to move in a very specific manner. Before we close, I would like to recommend a pedagogic application of this union of physicality and meter. Diane Urista performed a video-based study of her students moving to music in a number of classroom exercises teaching beat, meter, phrase, and form articulation. One exercise involved having students move to music until they heard a cadence. At the cadence point, they stopped and came in contact with another student. These types of exercises are supported by Robin Attis's finding that listeners are inclined to recognize large and small formal and often hypermetric divisions through changes in the speed and type of their physical motion. In summary, performers' and listeners' physical response is linked to the level of metric clarity in the music. Listeners' perception and response to meter is influenced also by the performer's physical expression of meter. Finally, the intrinsic connection between meter and body movement make movement exercises in the classroom an effective pedagogic tool. Thank you for joining me today on this journey, and I hope to see you again soon.